Okay, we're live. Um, are
Wow,
you are
we're
you
live. We
still
are live. This
are you
feels
st
cool.
are you still with me, Krishna?
I am.
Cool. So electrolytes. We were talking about electrolytes. The only electrolytes I know of is salt. Now I realize there's lots of other ones that you get in vitamin form. I guess potassium, is that an electrolyte? I don't know.
See, I'm not sure. I just know about the salt myself. Do you know what the electrolytes do for us?
Oh, I guess not really. Do you?
Well, what they do. I learned about electrolytes when I was practicing a little basement, unprofessional type of electroplating,
Hmm.
putting metals on like coating something with copper or another metal. And I don't hear you, by the way.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay.
So the electrolytes facilitate the movement of electricity through the water or liquid.
Hmm.
So if there wasn't salt in the solution when you were gold plating something or copper or nickel plating something, the
Hmm.
electricity wouldn't move through the water and it wouldn't really work.
Gotcha.
So in the same way, inside of our human or animal bodies, probably insects too, the brain signal is electric going to the muscles and all sorts of other systems in the body, have these electrical signals. And if we're low on electrolyte, the electricity can't flow the way that it wants to and should. And it's kind of like having a weak connection in your headlights in your car.
Hmm. Gotcha.
So electrolytes are pretty important. And a very simple way to get an electrolyte drink is you get a squirt lemon and you squirt up some lemon into a bottle of spring water.
Hmm.
Then you just put the tiniest little pinch of salt in there. You shouldn't taste it. If you taste salt, you put too much in.
Okay.
Just a little tiny pinch, and you shake that up, and you drink a good strong lemon water with a little tiny pinch of salt, and that's supposedly an awesome electrolyte.
Okay. Hey, I tried to pin my invite. Did it?
Okay.
I don't see it.
Well, you won't see it in the StreamYard. You'll only
No.
see it in the YouTube.
Okay. Do you see it?
I'm gonna go to YouTube now and look. Sometimes when I go to YouTube, it knocks me out of the call. That's why
Oh,
I'm trying to
okay.
do it carefully here.
Well, I see it in YouTube, but I guess that's good enough if I see it in YouTube.
I see the link, but it's not pinned. Oh, wait a minute. Nope, there it is. Now it's pinned.
Okay. Cool.
I
Cool.
refreshed my YouTube. Yeah, so you're all set.
All right.
It's nice to be with you on another fine day.
Wait. Would you say that again? I missed it.
It is nice to be with you again on another fine day.
All right. Good to be with you too, buddy.
Yeah, so we're waiting for a few people to come in before you start, or is this more for recording?
I don't know. We can do whatever we want. If you're interested in listening to it, I can run it. Or,
Well, one
you know,
thing I noticed about the videos you tend to play are pretty short, and that makes them
uh-huh.
easy to remember what they were talking about, rather than
R-
trying to recall an hour or two of like
exactly.
video. It's
Exactly.
kind of overwhelming trying to.
Yeah. That
So
that's kind of yeah. Go
is
ahead.
this one of those shorter videos?
Yeah. In fact, I think. Well, I got to make sure I'm in the right one. Yeah, number 11 is the one I'm looking for. It's 7 minutes long.
Yeah, that's nothing for me. I routinely watch movies that are like 3 hours long.
Yeah. All right. Well,
All
how
right,
about
now
we?
I'll
Okay.
mute while you play it so that my friend mowing the lawn doesn't interfere too much.
Okay. And But if you hear something, you need me to stop, give me a yell. All right.
Will do, sir.
Thank you. Okay. You know, I have a, I have trouble walking and chewing gum at the same time. So I'm going to stop walking and I'm going to chew some gum here.
I like it.
And okay, so share screen, Chrome tab. Um, hmm, is that it? I think that's it. I don't see the full link to know if it's. Oh yeah, that's it. That's it. Here we go, and I think it's going to start up automatically, but I'm not positive. So
It looks like you're not sharing screen, Dale.
yeah, I know I'm not yet. I gotta pick the right. I Chrome tab. What happened? What happened? Where did it go? I had it a second ago. That's not it. Well, let me start over. Okay. Oh wow, I'm completely off of Zender's site. So let me get back on. Martin Zender. That's his site. Go to ZenderTalk. Click that. Go to Original 50. Click that. Go to shows 11 through 20. There's shows 11. Click that. There is. I know you're not seeing any of this. You're gonna in a minute though. Chrome tab. That's it. It should work now. Uh-oh. Here it comes.
Meandering through the minefields of exegetical theology from high atop the post office. Am I reading this right? Is this supposed to be existential? What is supposed to be exegetical? What is exegetical? Okay, well, why don't we just say that? I don't like these fancy words. I don't even know what it means. I'm going to start this over again. Meandering through the minefields of critical explanations or interpretations of Scripture, from high atop the post office at my undisclosed location, across from the bank, down the roadway. I guess we are across from the bank. Across from the bank, down the road from the library, I am Martin Zender, and welcome to another week of God knows what. I do plan these things out, sort of. I have notes here, which I'm flashing at you at this very moment, but we're winging it most of the time. It's a very rough outline, and I'm just excited as you are to see what's going to happen. I apologize for this being Monday, but I can't help it. This is a necessary prelude, necessary evil to weekend happiness. I'm a little stuffed up today, too. If I sniff and snort, it's because I'm beset with evil. And I don't like it. People know that I'm a champion of God being responsible for everything in his universe, and that includes the common cold. But people assume that I like it just because I know that God is behind even the bad things that happen, because they're eventually going to work out for good. I don't necessarily like it, and I don't like colds. I take medicines, nose sprays, and things to try to get rid of it.
Well, if you believe God's behind it, why are you trying to get rid of it?
Because I'm not a fatalist. You know, the rain is of God too, but I still use my windshield wipers. Where do we leave off Friday? Oh yeah, on Friday, we were talking about Mel Gibson's movie, The Passion of the Christ, and I said I had one more little thing to say about it. The first time I started looking into this movie, reading reviews, I noticed that all the pillars of Christianity, or what I like to call them, the pillars of the apostasy, they were raving about this movie. People like James Dobson and Billy Graham, the Kennedy guy, Pastor Kennedy, all these big shots, they're loving this movie. And I said, uh-oh. I knew right away something was wrong with this movie. You can pretty well count on that, because these folks are not in tune with what God is doing overall, and so they'll get all excited about the wrong things. And I was right about that. Yeah, I said they were the pillars of the apostasy. I suppose I should. Does everybody know what apostasy is? All right, this might surprise you. I want to look. Yeah, I'll go ahead and let's look that word up, because this surprises a lot of people. And I know that if you're a hardcore Christian and happen to get hold of this, you're thinking the wrong thing all along about apostasy, because I know that the whole Christian religion in the church, they're looking at their watches, waiting for the arrival of this grand thing that Paul called the apostasy. And somehow the idea gets taught that the apostasy concerns the world. The apostasy, the world is apostate, these evil people who smoke cigarettes and drink beer and go to bed movies. They're evil, they're apostatized. No, apostasy involves the church.
But I need that beer now.
Not the world. The Greek word, the word's only used like 3 times in the scripture, twice as a noun here.
Me love
It's
beer.
apostasia. That's the word used in the New Testament, translated apostasy. Look at this word. It's a 2-part Greek word. Apo, A-P-O, is the prefix meaning from, and stasia is standing. So literally, apostasy is from standing. What does that mean? You have to be standing first before you can from stand. You have to be in the arena of truth in order to fall away from it. Apostasy involves something that started right and went bad. You know when the apostasy started, this great falling away that people were looking for? It started shortly after Paul's death. Not kidding you. As soon as Paul, well, it was like that way in Paul's life too. As soon as Paul taught something on grace and he left town, then members of what was known as the circumcision would come in with their law, and they would hear that Paul was teaching you don't have to be circumcised or baptized or observe the Sabbath, and they got all excited about that, bent out of shape. But of course, Paul was such a strong teacher that they wouldn't mess with you until Paul left. And then as soon as Paul slammed the door and left, in came these guys trying to bring you back into bondage. And Paul was always fighting with them in his lifetime. In fact, a lot of his letters, especially the letter to the Galatians, was a response to him finding out that the people were starting to believe these circumcisionists that were taking them back to law. So that's what the apostasy is. And there's 2 places. Oh my gosh, we can't be there. Oh, there's 2 places in Scripture. We're going to go to this, and I'm going to show you examples to tell you that I'm right. I have not even gotten through half of my notes. This is impossible. Got some great verses about Jesus saying, I am the Christ. I just can't even start going into it now. I got to tell you, too, I told you I was going to tell you about the guy that I talked to that said God had nothing to do with the crucifixion of Christ. We're going to focus on Jesus Christ this week. His words. We're going to talk about the apostasy. I'm going to talk about evil. I'm going to do a Rocky imitation for you. We're going to talk about Hollywood. We're going to talk about movies. We're going to talk about Jesus Christ Superstar and Judas. And if I get this in all this week, it'll be a miracle, but I'm going to try. I'm Martin Zender. Believe in God no matter what the clergy say. We'll see you tomorrow.
Okay. Are you awake? Maybe not.
No, I'm here. I was texting with my mother.
Okay. Okay.
She actually was texting me. I didn't initiate it.
Sure. All right.
Sorry, sir.
No, that's fine. I totally get it. Well, let's see. I think I took a couple of notes on this. Pillars of the apostasy.
So apostasy is like a not a nice name. It's saying something negative.
Well, if you picked up on what he was talking about, he said that the Greek word is, I think it was apostasia.
Wait a minute, there's a leaf
Yeah,
blowing here.
yeah, yeah. I hear him.
Yeah, yeah, he's a very, very busy man.
Yeah. Can you hear me though?
Except when he's right at the door. Yeah.
Okay. Well, give me a yell if you can't hear me.
I will.
As I understood, Martin, he said the Greek word that is translated to apostasy in English comes from a two-part Greek word, apostasia. The first part, apo, means from, and stasia means standing. So it's from standing.
I
And
see.
the idea is you have to be standing before you can come from it, right?
So it'd be like you can't fall from grace unless you're attained or received some state of grace.
Okay, yeah. Yeah,
Well,
you can't fall from anything unless you're first on that thing.
yeah. I
That
actually made up a kind of a funny song, or attempt at being a funny song with the guitar.
uh-huh.
Kind of goes like, you got to get up to get down, you got to go in to get out, you got to go
Sure.
out to get in. You know,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
That reminds me of a song about up and down. How does that go again? Uh, ah, doesn't matter. I can't think of it.
Hold on,
Um,
I have to yell some at this guy.
sure,
A
absolutely,
message between my mother and
absolutely.
him.
Yep. Oh, baby, don't it feel like heaven right now? Don't it feel like something from a dream? Baby, I never knew. I don't know the words to this song. All right.
Almost wrapping it up with the text here. Sorry,
Yeah,
I've
no, no,
been kind of injured in my lower back for the last week plus. So, like, I've been
yeah,
on my
yeah.
mother and my
I
friend to
heard
help me
about
out there.
that. Hill's here. Yay.
So it's like I don't want to like just not answer the message and then forget about it. And I appreciate
I
the
I
help.
I totally get it, man. You are not under any compulsion to um, put this stream above anything. You know,
Well,
you got to do what you got to do. Absolutely, I get it, man.
I know you're an iron-fisted streamer.
Oh, wait. A what?
Iron-fisted streamer.
I didn't understand the very beginning of that.
Iron-fisted.
Iron. Oh, an iron
Like,
fist. I'm an
no.
iron fisted streamer? What does that mean?
Well, Iron Fist usually is associated with like hard-ass, deadly, mean, cruel regimes, government
Wow.
regimes.
Am I
So
am Am I a iron-fisted streamer? Really?
So, because of my sarcastic nature and my humor, which I've been told is a bad thing,
Oh
uh,
no, humor's not a bad thing. It's just misunderstanding humor that's the
yeah,
problem.
yeah, that's definitely a risk.
Yeah. So based on that, since I'm a iron-fisted streamer, that was a joke?
Oh no,
No?
no,
Ooh,
no! It's like
okay.
Hill was the iron-fisted lover.
Iron fist and a velvet glove, according to Hill.
You know the deal.
Well, she does. She's the one that said it just now.
Oh, I see.
Um, I'm a iron-fisted streamer. Man.
Well, being sarcastic, it makes sense because you're such a mellow and polite, relaxed gentleman
Well, that's
that
the
to call
velvet
you.
that's the velvet glove part.
I see, yes.
But the iron fist,
The titanium hammer within.
how about just a totally convinced hammer?
Yeah, hey, I'm
Uh,
not into labeling other people. I think we should describe ourselves how we want to be.
yeah. Well, I mean, people, they have their opinions. If they see it as being an iron fist, so be it. I, you know, I, I,
Jeez.
boy, I don't know about iron fist though. From my
Well,
from my perspective, I don't see an iron fist. But
you sure take the wind out of my sails when you take my sarcastic humor seriously.
well, hey,
All in good
the
fun.
the Tower of Babel, uh, the effects of the Tower of Babel continue, right? Confused languages. Even when we speak the same language, we have a tough time communicating.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? I have a pair of Bluetooth headphones. I'm gonna put
Hmm.
them on so that I can hear you over the fan noise and stuff.
Sure.
And plus, there's a microphone on my headset that
Okay.
might be an improvement. Hopefully, it is,
Welcome, Hill.
but it will definitely give me a sense of being there with you a bit more.
Sure,
Oh,
sure. Hey, Hill. So far, Hill, does the my volume sound okay? Krishna worked with me on getting the volume of myself and Martin's audio to be somewhat the same. And I'm assuming you were not here to catch his audio, so I guess first things first. Does my audio sound okay to you? Somebody's here. Oh wait, that's Krishna again. Hmm. I wonder if it's really you. Would it be possible to show your face, Krishna? Because that makes me. Oh, I'm gonna let you in. Is that you, Krishna? It's
yep.
you. It's you. Thank you. It made me nervous because you were already in. And then when another one of you showed up, I thought to myself, "Oh, is that a troll or whatever, you know?"
Yeah. Do you know what to do if somebody ever phone bombs you or does something like that to keep your channel from getting shut down permanently or for months?
Oh, I'm sorry, Krishna. I'm sorry. I was reading Hill's response. She said, "Oh, the volume is excellent. Thank you, Hill. I just wanted to make sure that uh, Hill was catching the volume good too." Um,
Cool.
what did you say, Krishna? I'm sorry. Oh, do I know what to do if somebody porn bombs me? Well,
Yeah,
the only thing I would know at this point would be number one, kick them off immediately, and then number two, shut down the stream as soon as possible. And
that won't save you though.
oh, okay, okay, then help
You
me out.
have to either you have to delete the video like immediately, just totally delete it, or
Okay.
you have to edit it out, which I don't even know how to do. They keep
Well,
changing the YouTube.
I know how to edit videos in YouTube, kinda,
Okay.
kinda.
Yes. So
But
if that happened, you could like end the video and then just edit off the last 3 minutes or whatever it was.
my problem is I don't know how to keep it from being posted as a, oh, maybe if I put it private, if I make it private, it won't be open to the public. And then once
Yeah, but
I,
they
then
used
what,
to still ban you for that. They literally shut your channel down permanently for 3 months. I think
yeah,
it's less time now.
yeah, I guess having said all that, I'm not sure once a video, once I close the stream down, I mean, if I do nothing, if I just close the stream down, it'll automatically, when it's done processing or done doing whatever it's got to do, it'll it'll show up. So the only thing I currently know to do is to make it private, so nobody else can see it, only me.
Well, YouTube can see it.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what all I'm saying is I don't know what else to do. If I was to delete it, then I wouldn't even be able to edit it.
Right.
But if I make it private, then
Yeah,
eventually,
I believe I
so
heard Wild Hat mention that, who's been through this many times recently.
okay.
And there's two other things I'd like to mention to you, sir, unless you want to keep the show on a track or
Oh,
something.
oh no, no. We've only got three folks watching. I'm sure they wouldn't mind.
Wow, we're
Uh,
stars.
I'm sorry?
We are stars.
Yeah, 3 stars. Three out of how many though? That's the question. 3 out of 1,000 or 3 out of 4? Hey. So okay. So what else? You said there was a couple other things.
Yes. Let me see. Let me get my footing here.
Yeah.
I also get knocked off of my memory easily like you do, so we should
Oh.
be a great companion together.
Oh man. Oh no. I need somebody with a good memory to help me,
Oh, no.
not somebody to wallow around next to me doing the same thing.
So now I'm tired?
You do you do um what's the word? Um you can empathize with me and I empathize with you. We both have the same affliction, if you will.
Well, I don't know. It has its advantages.
Oh,
Like,
sure. Everything is brand new, right?
and also it helps me in super focusing on things.
Oh,
I
okay.
could, like I don't have like a lot of waste thoughts like jumping around in my skull.
Hmm.
I just kind of learn to let them slide away, and I just focus on what I want to, even if that's
Sure,
nothing.
sure,
So yeah, I mean, I figure if I got something ailing me, I may as well use it to my advantage somehow.
sure. Okay, so now one of the things was you were telling me how to be careful if somebody porn bombs us.
Oh yes, I remembered one of them.
Yeah.
Here's how it can happen. You know how you click on somebody's name and it shows up on your screen as a highlight, you get comment
If I you mean if I put their comment
on the screen.
on the screen?
Like,
Yeah.
yeah. But now, if they have a porn image in their little avatar picture,
Oh. Gotcha.
they'll boot your channel for it.
Right. I gotcha.
Oh, and now I remember the last thing that I wanted to mention.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good idea, if you haven't already, to create a backup channel with a whole nother YouTube name, I mean, a whole nother Gmail name, and just make it ready for live streaming, test it a couple times, and then you'll have the ability to have a backup channel. I have one that
Oh,
I haven't used. I haven't even signed into it in many years,
I
but
do have I do have another account, and it is under a different
Gmail.
Gmail.
Yeah,
It's
good.
it's it's still my name though, but it's a different avatar and all that, so that
And
should
did you ever try to stream on it? Because it takes like 24 hours or 48 hours or something before they let you stream once you request it. So you might want to
no.
sometimes just do a little short test stream for yourself and make sure that it works.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And in that way, if you need to request permission, you'll have it all set up as a backup if you need it.
Sure. Gotcha. Yeah. Thank you.
And that's the full Monty, baby.
Yeah. So then people would have to subscribe to that other channel at least to get notifications.
Yeah, I
But
think most of your friends, you could just tell them at Aces and they would know. And a couple other chat
mm-hmm.
rooms, they,
Mm-hmm.
people,
Mm-hmm.
you'd quickly get the word out there.
Sure. Yeah.
Unless you wanted people to sub to both.
Well,
Stuff happens.
not necessarily, but uh, they wouldn't get notifications unless they did. But
Right.
as far as I know, anyway.
Well, like I said, I've had one for many, many years, and I haven't ever logged into it for many, many years since I made it.
Yeah.
Um,
All right. Let's see. Meander my way back to the computer and see what's going on.
I didn't know you were away from the computer. Were you outside
I
having a smoke?
was.
Yeah,
Yep, I cruised out for a smoke.
good.
All right, let me stop this screen and ready for another offering from Martin.
What does that mean?
Another
Offering
audio
from
from Martin Zender.
audio.
Audio
I see.
from, yeah.
I thought you said something different. Yeah, could you
Yeah.
first just give like a little brief description of this fellow, who he is, where he is, who he is to you, what he means to you?
Yeah. Back in 2004, which is when I think when these audios started, uh, I probably didn't start listening to them until late 2004, early 2005. But I was heavy into evangelical Christianity. It was probably I would say around 25 years, maybe more. But
Okay.
anyway, and I got to the point where I was, as the phrase I like to use is, I was tormented by the idea of eternal torment. It
You
started
mean it was
go ahead,
really bothering you? It was disturbing your mind, you mean?
disturbing me to no end, to where nearly every morning I got to where I'd wake up and I'd spin around, put my feet on the floor, and just stare at the floor, thinking to myself, oh, how do I know that I'm not going to this awful place?
Yeah.
And at that time I professed to be a believer, but how could I know for sure? There's scripture that talks about people who are self-deceived. Wow, self-deceived. You know, they don't realize. I take that to mean they don't realize that they're deceived. And well, I'm a person, so am I self-deceived? Am I really not quote unquote saved, you know? And if I'm not, if I was to die that day, am I going to be in this excruciatingly ugly, painful existence for forever? I mean, is that even possible? Give me a break. What can I do? You know, how do I know? And it was tossing me around like a rag doll. I was, whew, and
And
short.
the only reason it would toss you around so severely is because you actually care and give a shite.
I absolutely give a shite about being tortured. I mean, well, that would be. I mean, I can't imagine anybody not giving a shite about that. You know, I
Yep.
mean, just for somebody to break in your house and pistol whip you, to rob you would be bad enough, but to be actually thrown in something referred to as a lake of fire, to be tormented, squirming like a worm forever, come on. You know, I mean, that's insanity. I can't even imagine, uh, even if it wasn't painful, even if it was just in some kind of a darkness where you're all alone, but you're conscious and you're in total darkness and you can't communicate with anyone. Even that would be like mind-blowingly uh, uh, tormenting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that, man, like I said, that tossed me around like a rag doll. And shortly thereafter, a gentleman in a chat room uh, who did not believe in eternal torment started challenging that concept with scripture. And I'm looking at that going, ooh, this is interesting. And
Yeah.
this particular chat room was a Christian chat room. And the creators of that room and their friends, you know, that were, you know, they were Christian. They were maybe theologians, maybe at least studious in the scriptures. You know, they were the big dogs. You know, if anybody came in and taught anything other than what they taught, then these big dogs would come in and set things straight, right?
I see.
Well, well, this guy was challenging eternal torment. So the big dogs came in to slap him around and set him straight. But man, what I witnessed was anything but slapping them around. You know, their arguments were very weak, and and uh, and man, I'm my ears are perked right up, boy. I'm like, what is this guy saying? You know, this sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
And after a couple of days of that, I chimed in and and threw a verse at him, and I said, "Some, you know, you mean like this one, like this, where it says somewhere in the scriptures about him, uh, Christ reconciling all things, whether they be in the heavens or on the earth or under the earth or something like that." And the guy writes back, he says, "Absolutely, that's a good one." And so I'm starting to catch on a little bit to what he's saying. And I think it was the very next day he suggested I go to Martin Zender's site because he's a teacher on these things.
Have
And
you completely overcome your anxiety about that, or is it still existent?
no, it's 99.9999% gone. I mean,
Oh, awesome. Good.
maybe I should just say 100. You know,
Yeah.
it makes zero sense in my mind that God is going to create people that he desires to have a relationship with, and if they don't measure up to some standard that he created them, you know, was he unable to create them in such a way that they could measure up? I mean, that would be on him, you know, if
Right.
he.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, I always took it different way myself, even before I ever learned anything about Eastern religions or other religions. Just as in junior high school, it just seemed obvious to me that, like, if you get a woman pregnant, and you have an unwanted child, you're creating a hell for yourself, the woman, and the child in society. Having this
Okay.
child that you don't want. It's like, isn't that hell? I mean, geez. Or if you're doing things that are wrong that cause hell, or like that, that's more what I take it to mean.
Yeah. Well, but that's people. That's people who are flawed, doing things in their flawed um, ways. God is not flawed. So for
Right.
him to create something that he didn't want would be absurd in my thinking. Even
Yeah, as
even
far as hell goes, but I mean, still we have the hellish situations here in this lifetime for sure.
sure. And I would liken that to the fact that God created evil. He created it for a purpose. It sucks. I get it, but God created it. But he's going to use it for his purposes, and it's going to work out cool. In the end, we're all going to see it for what it was. It was necessary to bring us to where he wanted to bring us, as I see it. So,
Yeah, and it's not always evil either. I mean, just sometimes it's
oh
just a,
yeah.
a natural death or a sickness or
Well,
injury.
well,
Uh,
all those things are evil. Um, but again, it's just a part of the creation that he made, and we're walking through this thing, and as the common expression, we're all groping for God, trying to figure out what's going on here. And
yeah,
so anyway, the as I was saying, I was led to Martin Zender, and at the time, uh, I didn't know of any videos or anything that he did. He was currently doing these audios. So these audios are the first um, that I heard of anybody that was a teacher on these things, presenting um, the ideas. Um,
I see.
so this is kind of my roots. This is where I got started um, in all of this. So that's why I want to play them, because I'm sure there's plenty that have probably disagree with this to a great degree, and maybe if they listen to these, maybe it'll spark something, and they'll go, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I'm down for
uh,
another one if you are.
all right, all right. Let me here. Let me mouse over this. I want to see what Hill had to say. I didn't grow up with a hell belief. My mom always said that if there's a hell, it happens on Earth. That's kind of what you're saying, right, Krishna?
Yeah, to be to the point and honest and not beat around the bush, I think that the scriptures, all the world scriptures, are more talking about our minds and, and our life on earth here more than
Right.
the next life. I mean, however, I don't claim to know what happens after death or if there is an external God. I find those things were unknowable, so I pursued where I could know, which is the internal God, which is a pretty valid thing to bring up, considering every scripture on the planet refers to God is within you.
Yeah.
But I'm
Yeah.
not trying to. I'm not trying to bother your faith. I don't want to disturb you, or upset you, or have some nutty idea that bugs you or anything. But if
Oh,
you'd like me to share stuff, I will.
yeah. No, I appreciate you sharing, and it doesn't bother me. I
Okay.
will admit that those scriptures puzzle me a bit. You know, that God is within you, or however they're worded. You know, I don't think I fully comprehend exactly what that means,
I'm
but
pretty good at explaining things in a very simplified way. If you want me to, at
go
today or and any other time, I'll be happy to
go
attempt
for it.
to.
Go for it.
Well,
If you want.
I do, but I just I'm going to be so to the point that it it might actually come off as odd. I
Iron
believe
fist,
that
iron fisted, you mean?
that's me.
Okay.
The Iron Fist. Um, so I believe that the God and devil are simply states of mind. They're the qualities within all beings and
Okay.
the potentials. And like when we're angry, selfish, greedy, cruel. I mean, we're obviously not like God. We're like devil. I mean, it's just
Hmm.
to me, it's just obvious.
Hmm.
And when we're thoughtful, compassionate, understanding, considerate, uplifting, cheerful, we're like God.
Hmm.
Not we're not God, but we are like Him. We have those same qualities as God: good discernment, good knowledge, wisdom, judgment. Well, obviously, God is perfect. So I believe that the God part of our mind is a part of our mind that we don't really learn about in the West. But in the East, it's very well known that the soul, spirit, whichever way we want to call it, is the part of our mind that is above thoughts, opinions, emotions. It's just simply the observer of all that I am. Like when you were 2 years old, 8 years old, 12 years old, 24 years old, the one thing that was omnipresent with you is in the physical world is that I am part of your consciousness. And so I believe that remains pure and it can't be burnt with fire, cut with a sword, wet with water, dried with air, that is the soul, spirit. And I believe that when we get right, it means to have that part of our mind take the throne of control over the lower mind. So instead of thinking I am the emotions, I am happy, miserable, whatever the case is, we become aware of that upper part of our mind, and we can then, like a flock of sheep or cows or whatever religion it happens to be, whatever, we take control over the flocks and manage them so that we don't let anger, which would be the wolf or a bad devil kind of character in any of the world scriptures, and that we be like, hey, you're not welcome here, get out of here. But whereas before, when we would get angry, we'd be like, I am angry, and it's like we get stupid, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And so I think when we're in that state, it's like the devil mind. But once we become simply aware of that pure consciousness, that's the observer, that it's a safe place for the people in the East. Like if there's pain, like I'm suffering in pain all week, like big time from my back, nothing to do with the cancer, which has not been too bad, by the way. I just
Wait,
I
wait, 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 wait. Did
what
you say
what
you've got cancer?
on my throat and jaw and neck, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Sorry to
But
hear
that's not the problem. Cancer is nothing. My lower back has been killing me. I've been
that.
walking on
Sure.
all fours for over a week.
Oh,
Hardly able to walk.
oh,
Yeah, so
yeah,
it's pretty painful. But anyways,
yeah, yeah.
I've been able to identify, I understand that it's not me that's in pain, it's my body
Right.
because of that awareness of the upper mind.
Mhm.
So it's like above thoughts, opinions, ideas. emotions. And I think that is a good summary. Have you captured it? Do you have questions? Did you get
Well,
it?
I think
Yeah, I mean, I'm not asking you to believe it. I'm just asking you to understand my perspective. You don't have
yeah,
to believe it.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I think I kind of get it anyway. My only question, I guess, at this point would be, but you do believe that there's a supreme God, correct? A
An
creator
an external God out in the universe, or it's filling the universe.
and he created this whole universe, right?
Well, I don't know.
Okay.
To be honest, I would quickly tend to say that whatever force created us, I would definitely say that is what we call God. And does this force or forces have a thinking mind or like a entity, or is it more like physical forces? I don't know. It's not in. That's why I went within, because all this other stuff is what people bicker about and argue about. Not so much in Ace's room, but I mean, in a
Mhm.
lot of where the younger folks chat, things get all heated and nonsensical and bitching and whining about what date somebody did this and stuff, and it's totally pointless and useless for anything spiritual. Nothing uplifting happens to anybody and at any time.
Yeah.
Uh, but I've found that, like, by going within and looking up in the sky of the mind for God, I found it's simply right there.
Okay. Well, for what it's worth, I believe God is not simply a energy or force, but he is sentient, if that's the proper word.
Yeah,
He's got a mind.
beautiful.
Um, he's not just an inanimate object or inanimate force that that isn't doing things purposefully. Um,
Right. Yep.
so so coming from that, it would seem to me logically that whatever he creates, there's a purpose behind creating it. And um, now, if he was an inanimate force, then there wouldn't necessarily be a purpose behind it. And if there's no purpose, then whatever happens. It's no concern. Well, he can't. If he's just a force, then there would be no reason for concern because he doesn't have concern. It's
Please
just
note, though, that I didn't claim that he was a force. I claimed that I don't know.
I no, no, absolutely. And but I'm taking the stance that I believe he is. Uh,
Beautiful. I love it.
he's not just a force. He's actually an intelligent being. Um, being not like us. I think he's spirit. Scriptures say he's spirit. I don't quite know what that is. Um, I I certainly don't understand God. Uh, man, who can understand God? But I think I got
Okay.
at least a little bit of a hint that he's got purpose anyway. So
Well, I know it's working for you because you're a person with a very beautiful, gentle, loving nature. You're like a
well,
living Jesus yourself.
wow.
So
Okay.
I
Well,
applaud you for that. And
well. Okay. Good luck living up to that, Dale.
I think it's kind of sad that Christians feel like it's not possible to live up to Jesus' standards. I think that it's there's a beautiful thing. I mean, you are living up to them. Look at yourself. Look at yourself.
Well,
You're awesome. You're like a beautiful person. I mean,
well,
you're thinking and conscious and caring and
well,
you just
all of that goes back to God. He is ultimately responsible for his creation, and I am what I am because that's how God created me. And uh, if you think I'm beautiful, then praise God that He made something that you think is beautiful. You know,
most of
there's
the whole group. Look
yeah.
at Hill. I mean, except for Hill. I mean, Ace is beautiful. Sterling's beautiful. Kate is like a beautiful person. Not that any of us are perfect, but
Yeah,
we are like our role models and heroes. These divine
yeah,
characters, or one character or more. I have many, but other people want one. That's fine. What's more important than what people believe
yeah.
is their character. They uplifting and cheerful. Like I feel good to be around you.
Yeah.
I feel nice when I chat with you. It's pleasant, and I enjoy chatting with you, and even just seeing you chat. You-
Did you catch that? Hill picked up
No,
on what you were. She picked up on what you were laying down.
I forgot to say that I was joking. I was joking.
Okay, wait. She said she did this. This came before it, though.
No, I love Hill. She's awesome. She's a good kid.
Yeah. All right. All right. Cool. Let's see. Are you ready for the next audio offering?
Yes, sir.
All right. Let's see if I can make this happen. Share screen, group tab. I do believe this is it.
Oh, I made a bundt cake. Let me put on some coffee. Who would like coffee and cake?
Thanks, but we have to be getting back.
Have a fucking cup of coffee.
Coffee will be great, thank you.
You know what? You know what? Can you hear me, Krishna? Hmm. Let me see. Let me see. Hill. Krishna is apparently busy doing something else. Did that audio sound terribly loud?
I had another text. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Did you hear the audio? It sounded crazy loud to me.
I have my. I'm gonna check it now.
Okay, well, I turned it down, so okay, I'll crank it back up and you can let me
Yeah, it
know
might
if
it might
it's
go to, it might go to full volume every time you do that.
you know
If it
I
does,
yeah, I'll have to try to figure out, where to put the volume. So, okay.
okay.
Okay, here we go.
Sounds perfect right there.
Okay,
My
good.
cold is getting a little better. Can you hear it? Can you tell? Yeah, I treated it with coffee. Caffeine is the cure, my friends. Caffeine is the answer. But I'm telling you, I jump on every news flash that tells you coffee's good for you. It used to be they said it was bad, it stunts your growth, it turns you into a nervous, hypertensive individual. Not so. Now they're telling you it's good for your blood pressure, it's good for your prostate. That includes you women too. It's that miraculous. Coffee's wonderful. I envy these people who are down there in these warm countries, Costa Rica, South America, picking these coffee beans. I wish I was there today. What a life. I love these coffee companies. God bless them. And coffee has cured me today, ladies and gentlemen. And you know what they tell you? Coffee actually burns calories. And there's no calories in this stuff. There's no calories in coffee. It's too good to be true. If you're not a coffee drinker and you're going to start, let me give you some advice, folks. Drink it black. Start it right. Don't put any of this crap in it, the cream and sugar. You're going to be messed up for the rest of your life. It's going to be a hassle for you the rest of your life. Yeah, how much cream do you like? How much sugar? You don't have cream. You don't have sugar. Forget it. It's simpler. Drink it black. Black is beautiful. Where was I? The apostasy. I told you that yesterday that there were Jews in that era who were trying to dissuade people from the pure gospel of grace that Paul brought. And after Paul died, that came in with a vengeance. And people who had been standing in grace, in the unconditional love of God, suddenly began to lose that message. They began to be talked out of it. There were no strong teachers really at the time. Well, there always has been a remnant. There's people down through the years who will believe the truth. But the general population who had once believed in Jesus began to fall away and believe that the sacrifice of Christ was not sufficient, and then began to creep in these doctrines of human free will, of eternal torment for those who don't believe. These weren't the original beliefs of the church, my friends. They were not. The doctrine of the Trinity, for instance, came from the Nicene Council back in the 4th century AD. And when the scriptures were translated into Latin, that's when the word aeternium crept into the scriptures, substituting for the word Ionian, the inspired word. Things began to get corrupted. And very early on in the new millennium is when the apostasy started. So there's Christians today, I know they're all looking at their watches, waiting for the apostasy. When's it going to get here? We're going to be ready for it when it comes. We're going to stand by our parapets and with our binoculars and we'll spot it. Guess what, folks? It's operating in your midst. You are the apostasy. You think you're fighting it? Is this plot of Satan or what? He gets the people who imagine they're fighting the apostasy, and he works the apostasy through their midst. What a deception. They don't even know they're doing it. The world knows because they can spot it a mile away. They can sniff apostasy from 100 stadia. That's an old Bible distance term. They know hypocrisy when they hear it, but the church doesn't. The apostasy is here. And I'm out of time. What Jesus said one time? He said that many will come in my name saying, I am the Christ. I used to thought, man, that's going to be obvious. When somebody comes along saying, I am the Christ, and the guy looks like Don Rickles or something, nobody's going to believe that guy. But that's not what he means. Whew, wait till I tell you what he means. You're going to love it. You got to come here tomorrow at the same time, same station. I will continue to be Martin Zender, and I will continue to exhort you to believe in God no matter what the clergy say.
That was another short, sweet one. I like his style.
I was muted.
Yep, it happens.
I was apologizing because I hardly even heard any of that. I listened to it before I came live, but I remember the part about Don Rickles. I am the Christ, and he looks like Don Rickles. Yeah, obviously he's not.
Yeah, I've been a little distracted with a few things too. Like my back was really zinging a good pain on me just a couple minutes ago. Plus, my mother's texting me and she's coming over to drop off a few sandwiches for me.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Well, good thing is this thing is recorded, so something that I forget to pay attention to, I can jump back.
They'll be listening to us millions of years from now.
Yeah, that'd be fun. It reminds me of thinking back into kindergarten, things, the stupid things we used to do, because we're just kids, not knowing any better,
It's only stupid after 50.
Looking back and laughing at the things we did to each other out of ignorance, and Oh boy.
Yeah. Yeah, and some of them not even laughable. It's kind of
Yeah.
awful.
All right. Let's see. Let's see if I can find another one. Let's see. Which one is this? This is 12. So let me pull up 13.
When if my mother arrives during this, I'll announce it to you so that you're aware of that. Because
Okay.
I'll take my headphones off while she's
Okay.
here.
Do whatever you got to do. I get it.
It'll be a brief visit.
Sure. Okay, let me see if I can adjust this volume before I even share it. I think that is pretty good right there. It looks about right. Let's see how this goes.
Hey, I hear her outside, so I'm gonna take my headphones off. I'll hang in the room
All
with
right.
you though.
All right.
Wow, you're like yelling so loud. Oh, I gotta take the headphones off. I'll be right back with you. You can still play it though. Yeah, you have an
Yep.
audience out there.
Okay. Okay. Talk to you in a bit. And I am going to play it. And I think it's going to be starting right now. I think.
The great Oz has spoken. Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain.
Who are you?
Oh, I am the great and powerful
Christian religion.
Yeah, they're still trying to adjust my sound here. Sorry, they're getting mad at me because I go from rabid to placid
In less than 60 seconds.
As am I, trying to adjust my sound. Ironic, eh? Here we go.
and that's driving them crazy in the control room. I'm not going to try to cure it. It's their problem. Yeah, it's your problem. I'm going to do what I do here. I can't think about it. I know sometimes I talk too fast, talk too slow, talk too loud, it's your problem. You're trained in this. No, you went to school for it, right? You did, right, Jim? Yeah, I didn't go to school for that. I'm barely holding on. You don't understand. I'm barely holding on to this show. I mean, I'm like this train perched on the rail. Yeah, it doesn't take much to derail me. So if I started thinking about that, I'd be shot. I'm barely hanging on here. Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to ZenderTalk. It's Wednesday, and it's starting to look like I'm not going to get to my Rocky imitation this week. No, I don't think I should. They think I should give you just a little sample of it. All right. I'll whet your appetite. You ready? Yo, Adrian. Yo, Adrian.
Ew.
I know that's not it. I'm teasing you. I do better than that. I'm not going to give them to them. No, they're going to have to wait. It's worth it. Why am I even going to do the Rocky imitation? Because it has to do with movies. It has to do with Hollywood. It has to do with the 3-act play. Did you know that every movie was based on 3 acts? It's the standard in entertainment, the 3 acts of the play. And God doesn't follow it. He didn't look at Steven Spielberg and say, hey, that's a good idea. Steven Spielberg is getting this from God. He probably doesn't know it, but God has set up this pattern throughout Scripture of Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3. And you have to stick around to see. This is really cool. I can't wait to tell you this. I'm not going to get to it today. I got to talk about Jesus. I hope I get to this tomorrow. It is so cool to see how this works. You can't leave the theater in either Act 1 or especially not Act 2. You got to stay for Act 3 because that's when the good things happen. And the problem people have with God is they're looking at all these bad things in the world and they think that they're in Act 3 or something.
Duh.
They think that this is the conclusion, the dramatic ending of God's movie, and it's going to end in death and chaos. Holy smokes, is that ever wrong? No, I would say we're in Act 2 now. Act 2 contains the crisis. We're going to talk about that. We're going to analyze a couple movies, including Mary Poppins, and some sex and violence movies. I guess that would include Mary Poppins. A lot of sex and violence in Mary Poppins. You just have to know where to look for it. It's definitely going to include Rocky, and I'm going to do my real imitation of Rocky, and I hope we get to that tomorrow. I pray for it, folks. Get in a prayer circle. We're going to go to Matthew 24, still talking about the apostasy, this falling away. And you know, the original apostatizers actually did go from believing the right thing to believing the wrong thing. But today it's a little different because you can actually start never believing in the right thing. The apostasy, again, I'll say it again, started right among believers, started in the camp of the church and went bad. But the badness, the falseness has now been passed through to the ages, and it has become an imitation of the truth. Everything looks like it's right. They name the name of Jesus. There's the church buildings. We're talking about Christ, but it's not truth. It's a different Jesus. Oh man, there's another sidetrack I could get onto. Paul talks about worshiping a different Jesus. Boy, is that a great verse. I think it's in 2 Corinthians, a different Jesus. Did you know that? That you can be talking about Jesus all the time, Jesus, 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 but you're not believing in the true Jesus. It's a false Jesus. Whew. This apostasy is so slick. It's an imitation. This is how apostasy works. It's based on imitation. Do you remember in Egypt when Moses went and he started to do these wonders in front of Pharaoh and his court, and Moses and Aaron threw down their rods and they became snakes, and the magicians imitated it? That's the essence of the apostasy. It's an imitation. It has to be close to the truth or it's not going to fool you. Nobody's going to be fooled by an evil demon with a black mustache and a pointy tail like the caricature of Satan the Christians paint. No, no, no. Satan is today disguised as a messenger of light and his ministers as dispensers of righteousness. I think that's 2 Corinthians chapter 12. Could spend the whole week just on that verse alone. So the apostasy is very, very subtle. So subtle that today there are, I believe, millions of people who think they're believing in Jesus, but they're really believing in themselves. It's that insidious. Matthew 24, let's go to verse 4. Matthew 24:4, Jesus is talking about these last days. And answering, Jesus said to them, "Beware that no one should be deceiving you." And he's telling this to his disciples. And if anybody should be attuned to what was going on, they should. Yet, this falling away is going to be so slick that Jesus himself said that if it were possible, even the elect would be deceived. It's not going to be obvious. And if you ask me, glad you did, if Christianity sees through it, it's not the apostasy. Jesus said to them, "Beware, no one should be deceiving you, for many shall be coming in my name, saying, 'I am the Christ,' and shall be deceiving many." I used to think, oh, come on. Who's going to believe? Here's this yo-yo that looks like Don Rickles saying, "I am the Christ." Nobody's going to believe that. But that's not what Jesus is saying. This is what he's saying. Many will come saying that I, Jesus, am the Christ. You see that? Listen to this. Many are going to say that I am the Christ. They'll admit that I, Jesus, am the Christ, but they're deceivers. Oh, does that go along with 2 Corinthians 12? Oh, I'm sorry, it's 2 Corinthians chapter 11. I'm there now. Verse 13, Paul talks about false apostles, fraudulent workers, being transfigured into apostles of Christ. They're called apostles of Christ. They're transfigured not into apostles of Satan. They might be that, but they look like apostles of Christ. And only a person with the name Christian can be mistaken for an apostle of Christ. Jesus is confirming this. Many will come in my name saying, "I am the Christ." They're not saying that they are the Christ. They're saying that he is the Christ. But they're worshiping another Jesus. I just found that verse. It's in the same context in 2 Corinthians. Oh, I'm out of time. 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 4. "For if indeed he who is coming is heralding another Jesus whom we do not herald, or you are obtaining a different spirit which you did not obtain, or a different evangel, different gospel which you do not receive, you are bearing with him." Paul's getting after them. Don't bear with him. There's another Jesus out there. He's got beautiful hair and he's handsome and he's a hunk, and you hang his jewelry around your neck and he's popular. He's more popular than the Beatles. That's not the true Jesus. Believe in God no matter what the clergy say. I'm Martin Zender.
You are listening to Martin Zender with our host Dale Kelly.
Very good, Krishna. Thank you. Well,
Yes.
I don't know how much you
Yes.
heard. The deception. Okay, let me put this up. The deception is already widespread and insidious. Yes, it is. Yes, it
You
is.
talking? You guys talking about me? I'm glad I'm not the self-conscious type.
Regardless of any deception, God is the Savior of all. It's
Amen.
gonna be worked out. So, you know,
Yeah.
I know
Well,
I'm deceived. I know I'm deceived about many things. You know, we're not yet uh, immortal beings. You know, we're still mortal. We've got death operating in us, and we do stupid things. Uh,
I would contest that
yeah.
because if our soul and or spirit, I know there's a little confusion about which one is the eternal thing, but whatever. Which whichever is that eternal part of us, that soul or spirit or whatever name one has for it, it's within us. Where that spirit embodied in a body temporarily. Would you agree with that, or is that not how you see it?
Well, I don't think there's any part of us that's eternal. It, um, I my take on it is the spirit is, well, when Adam was first formed, he was um, just a gathering of clay and dirt and whatnot, and he was just a body. He was not alive yet. He was just a body. Then God breathed into Adam the breath or spirit, if you will, of
Yeah.
life. As I understand it, the word spirit comes from, well, in Greek it's pneuma, where we get pneumatics, you know, air-driven tools and whatnot are pneumatic.
Yeah.
Anyway, anyway, God breathed into Adam air, I guess. You know, and that brought Adam to life, which is what created the soul. The consciousness, as I understand it, is the soul. And when someone dies, that breath of life is removed from them. So the body, absent that breath of life, the body dies, and the soul that was a combination of the body and the spirit, it evaporates. It's gone. It no longer exists. In order for
Whoa.
the, in order
Whoa.
for,
Whoa.
Go ahead.
Whoa. What about the gorilla in the room?
The gorilla.
The gorilla in the room. I mean, what about heaven and hell in the next life? So you're saying you don't believe in those,
Well,
or at least a heaven?
well, God is able to resurrect. So he can put a spirit back in a body, or he can make uh, a, a mortal body a spiritual body and an immortal body. He can create whatever he wants to create. He can do whatever he wants to do. He can take that body that used to have a soul, that is the soul then evaporates upon the removal of the spirit. He can take that and 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 resurrect it into a living being again.
But what
That
do you
that's what
believe in heaven in the next life, or do you
absolutely.
not?
No, no.
So,
I absolutely believe in the next life, but that's upon resurrection. Without resurrection, we have no hope. But we know there is a resurrection.
but if we just evaporate, then what part of us would go to the heaven? What part of us would be in the heaven?
We're resurrected. We're resurrected to a spiritual body.
So we're first we evaporate and then we're recondensed, kind of.
If I guess it, you could put it that way.
Interesting.
God controls all the elements of his creation. Even people that are cremated. You know, my mother asked me once, excuse me, about my dad. When he died, he was cremated. And I was talking to my mother about resurrection, and she was puzzled. She said, "Well, what about your father? He was cremated. His ashes are all over the place."
Yeah.
We ended up actually putting him in a lake that he used to live on. And anyway, she was concerned. Well, how can he be resurrected? He was cremated, and his ashes are scattered everywhere. Well, God is God. I don't see any problem at all with God gathering those elements back together.
I see. Yeah, yeah. I think God's got it.
If that's even necessary, who knows? Maybe he just uses different elements and creates another one of you and and brings life. And it's still you, it's still your mind, but made out of different elements. Who knows? Who knows how God's going to do this? But we do know that the scriptures teach there's a resurrection, and hey, we're all going to be resurrected.
I like your style and your ideas.
All right.
Very
Very,
beautiful and nice.
very glad to hear that. I got a. Let me see what this is. None of us have complete knowledge or understanding. Absolutely, Hill. You got that right. The spirit has to exist somewhere, though, perhaps in God's realm, hidden. I don't claim to know this for sure. The spirit, I would still liken spirit to air, to yeah, no doubt. I might be selling it way short, no doubt. There certainly could be more to it than I'm presently thinking, but I kind of liken it to air. God, like when you give mouth-to-mouth resuscitation to somebody, you're breathing air into them, and
Yeah.
and they need that air in order for their body to function, in order for their
Oxygen.
heart to beat, in order for their brain to receive blood and be able to operate. Um, uh, yeah, maybe the spirit is more than just air, but I would say it's at least air.
Perhaps perhaps space. I've heard some people, some of the Eastern teachers say that it's something like space
Space.
because it's within and without everything. It takes the form of everything effortlessly, gives up the forms of anything effortlessly. I've heard some of them mention that it's the nature of our soul and God is that of space. It's just an interesting thing. I'm not saying it's true or I believe it, or it's just the
Sure,
interesting thing I heard mentioned.
sure, sure.
Which and when you were talking about air, it made me think of like one step further, and the subtlety is space itself, meaning space like within every atom, space within the entire universe, so collectively all of space together.
Okay.
I know I can be a little far out and fruity. I'm sorry if I do that to you. Just tell me to be quiet or straighten
I'm
my
not.
act up or something.
I'm not telling you anything. You're speaking your mind, and that's fine. I've got a whole lot of thoughts that I don't. Hey, I don't even dare say them sometimes because they're a little bit out there. Um, they might not be out as far as I think. Then again, they might be way further out than I know. So who
Yeah.
knows, you know?
Well, you seem
All
to be
right.
doing just fine.
Well, I'm doing the best I can with the tools I got.
Well, you're well
Uh,
loved, so that's a sign of something.
that it certainly doesn't hurt, right? Cool.
Yeah. So what do you want to do next?
Well, if you're up for it, I'm ready for another audio.
Yeah, I think my friend is with he's cutting his hair because he's a barber and my mother's left, so this I shouldn't have any interruptions, I think, hopefully.
Okay, that was 13, so we're looking for 14, which is right here. Let me adjust this volume. I hope it's good there. And I think this is it. Here we go.
What's your problem?
I don't like confrontations.
You better be sure about that.
I try my best these days to avoid theological arguments in social settings. You're right. You're right. I wasn't always that way. I used to seek out the confrontation, especially in social settings. No, I wasn't confrontational. I just sought out confrontations. I happen to know that you can seek out confrontations without being confrontational. Don't ask me how it works, it just does. I managed defeat, especially when Melody was around. She used to tell me, just leave people alone. They don't want to hear about your theology. Well, I assumed that they did. Boy, was I wrong. Oh, man. So this took place in the old days. I'm going to talk about my confrontation now. The story I advertised, I promised to tell you, true story. My confrontation at a family gathering, holding a bowl of pretzels, munching nonchalantly was I, approaching the unsuspecting victim and asking him, do you think God is behind evil? I knew he was a Christian, and I knew this would get his goat, and I knew I'd have an argument, but I was feeling feisty then. Melody was in another room drinking tea. I, of course, was drinking my coffee, and I had my pretzels with me, and I was ready for a scripture-slinging good time. So I asked him, and he said, you know, God has nothing to do with evil. I said, pardon? He goes, God would have nothing to do with evil. God is pure. God is righteous. God is nice. I said, well, I agree. God is pure, righteous, and nice, but yet he can use evil for good purposes. No, he can't. I said, let's talk about the crucifixion of Christ. He said, if you insist. And we just kind of eyed each other, eating our pretzels. It was a showdown, you know. The showdown at the Isaiah 45:7 corral. Isaiah 45:7 being the verse that says God creates evil. There we were. I said, I'm not gonna call him by his true name of Bob, so I'm gonna call him Bill.
Yeah, Hill. Maybe I'm muted. Nope, I'm not. Okay. Yeah, Hill. That's something I need to learn. I sometimes bring up stuff at the most inappropriate times. It's something that's pretty hard to regulate
Hey, let's
sometimes.
scramble an egg.
Say that again.
I said, hey, let's scramble an egg.
Scramble an egg or try to
I,
unscramble
I,
one?
I was bringing up something at a very inappropriate time.
That's okay. Go ahead. What's
I
on your
did.
mind?
Let's scramble an egg. Oh, you don't get my humor at all.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not following. I'm
Dude,
sorry.
dude, you're killing me, bro. You're killing me.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's just my stupid, immature humor. You're just not following it. That's all.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm
I,
sorry.
I'm more sorry.
Okay. Minds are not changed by it. It usually just irritates and incites. Yeah, but Hill, there is also the possibility, anyway, at least the possibility that after a period of time, people maybe settle down and they get involved in something that reminds them of that. I know it's happened to me. So, they're reminded of something that was said at that uncomfortable moment, and they go, you know what? It kind of sucked the way that all went down, but I think I see what he means now. You know.
I can
So
agree with not talking about theological and political arguments and issues, especially where your job and your family harmony is at stake.
sure,
But
sure,
online, I think it really is a fantastic opportunity, though, that
yeah,
because it's also a social situation, but we're a little less vulnerable to each other,
yeah,
uh, and I'm hoping that it will ultimately lead to people learning more wisdom and being
yeah,
able to talk with more peace and without getting all anxious and upset and stuff
sure,
about issues.
yeah, yeah,
So it's been a practice for me. I mean, I've literally like hundreds of times created new accounts because it's like, oh, I said something mean, or years and years ago. It's like I don't even deserve to have that name now, so I'm just deleting that account. And eventually, I just retrained myself with good Lord's grace, of course, to be the man that I want to be. And I'm
yeah.
pretty close. It's not super perfect, but I'm pretty good. I'm pretty happy with my development, which I hope
Very
you are
good.
with yours.
I'm getting there. I'm getting
Yeah.
there. I still struggle with some of my ways, but I
Yeah.
don't I don't know if that's ever gonna go away
Oh,
until
yeah. Hill's a fucking monster.
I know, I know. I mean, just look at these comments. Jeez, it's true that listeners can learn a great deal from others' arguments. Now, what kind of a insidious comment is that? Gee, Hill.
Definitely a theological bully.
Oh man, look at this. Just throwing down. Now, it's true that listeners can learn a great deal from others' arguments. Absolutely. Sometimes the biggest thing you can learn is not to argue.
Yeah, I mean, it's like what we were saying earlier, Dale.
Yeah.
It's like I'm not asking you to believe what I am sharing. I'm just saying, like, hey, can you see it from this perspective? Okay,
I,
you can't. That's
I hear
cool.
you. I hear you. That's why I know I say it ad nauseum, but I always, not always, but often say, as I see it, blah, 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 right?
Yes. Yeah.
Hey, it's what makes sense to me. It's how I see it. I'm not trying to jam anything down anybody's anything. I'm just telling you how I see it. And if you want to hear me, great. If you don't, see ya, whatever. I'm just
Well, you don't have to get all
it.
mean. I was just talking.
Yeah, right. All right. All right. Let's see if I can get back to this audio.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's
Here
roll.
we here we go.
I said, Bill, the greatest thing that ever happened to you was Jesus coming into your life, right? Well, yeah, he agreed with that. The great blessings, I said, right, come from Christ. Great blessings have come to the world. And although he doesn't believe in the salvation of all or that God is sovereign or any of these other things, he admitted that, yeah, great blessings have come from Christ. I said, well, these are the result of the crucifixion, which, I believe you'll agree with me, was one of the foremost evils that ever occurred on the face of the earth. And he did agree with that. Terrible evil. I said, okay, who crucified Christ? And he took the roundabout relative explanations. Well, Romans did it, the Jews did it, Pilate did it, Satan did it, is what he ultimately believed. Yeah, ultimately, I'm telling you the facts. He ultimately believed that Satan was the ultimate source of the crucifixion because, quote, I'm going to quote him now. I actually wrote this down. He said, God had, quote, nothing to do with it, with the crucifixion. Now, I could have brought up my verses from Acts chapter 2 and Acts chapter 4 that was in accord with the counsel and the foreknowledge of God, but that would have taken a little of the fun away here. I wanted to hear how he was going to get out of this because I was setting him up for an excruciating contradiction. I wanted him to dangle from a rope and sweat in his own contradiction, but as you're going to see, he didn't even realize he was in a noose, and most people won't. Here's the thing. I said, what did I say I was going to call him? Oh, yeah, Bill. Yeah, Bob's his real name, right. I'm going to call him Bill. I said, Bill, you praise God for your salvation. That's right, he says. Why praise God for your salvation when he had nothing to do with it? Bill stopped eating his pretzel and made crunch. He said, what are you talking about? I said, you just attributed the crucifixion to Satan. Why then are you attributing the blessings to God? You just transferred it. You just went out of the sphere of what you're talking about. You're in the sphere of Satan did this. It was of Satan. And if you're going to follow this thing through and see what blessings came of it, follow the line, follow the train, get to the engine, find out that because of this, you're saved from death. Because of this, you're going to be delivered from death. And the world is going to eventually be delivered from death, even though he didn't realize that. You can't now attribute that to God because you've removed God from the process. This whole thing is part of the same process. The same evil is the very same thing that brought the good. It wasn't that there was this crucifixion and now God's going to take this bad thing that Satan did and put it under the table and now start something new that's going to bring you blessings. I said, no, the blessings came from the crucifixion. Bring the crucifixion back up from under the table, Bill. Put it back on the table because this is one and the same action. Now, if you're going to attribute the crucifixion to Satan, say that God had nothing to do with it, then you're going to have to say that God had nothing to do with the blessings you have now. And he just sat there, and you know what? It was totally over his head. Now, this is an intelligent man. He's a businessman. I better not say any more details about him. Just let me tell you, he's an intelligent human being who could not see that by taking away God's involvement, and that's not even the word to use. That's such a light, wimpy word. It's not God's involvement in the crucifixion. God caused the crucifixion. To take away God from that is to take away God from your blessings. And if you're going to put Satan as the author of the causer of the crucifixion, let's put it that way, Satan is the cause of it, then to be consistent, and I realize consistency is not a hallmark of the Christian faith. If it was, to be consistent, you would have to say, thanks, Satan, for my salvation. Because when it happened, God wasn't there. Because God wouldn't do anything like that to his son. But I'm telling you today that the only reason God did that to his son is because he saw the outcome. He knows what he's doing. This is Act 1, Scene 1. Actually, it's Scene 2, sorry. This is the crisis point of the movie. It's not over. You can't leave the theater in the middle of the movie. You got to stay and see how this works out. And boy, do I have great news for you of how this works out. The Apostle Paul, in the letter of 1 Corinthians, has great news for you for how this works out. I would love to hear these Christians be consistent. Boy, wouldn't that be entertaining. They got to change all their hymns to take all this praise away from God because God had nothing to do with the crucifixion. Holy, holy, holy. Satan came up with my salvation for me. God wasn't anywhere in this place. He was away somewhere far away because he has nothing to do with evil. I'm sorry for that. Amazing Satan, how wonderful your plan turned out. That you killed Christ, what a blessing came from your murder. And now that I'm on the other end, I can look back and say that you did it all because God was in some corner of his universe, waiting for the bad stuff to be over. Nya, 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 nya. Oh my God. I can't stand it anymore. I gotta go. What's on the plans for tomorrow? Am I gonna do my Rocky imitation tomorrow? We're gonna talk about movies. It remains to be seen. I hope so. In the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, please believe God in spite of what the clergy say. I'm Martin Zender.
Hoorah.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see why you dig these talks, man.
Yeah.
Nice little mini lectures.
Yeah. What do you got on God being the cause of the crucifixion of his son?
You're asking me?
Yeah. Sounds pretty outrageous in one sense.
Yeah, it does. I don't know. I don't feel really compelled to comment too much because you're already like really beautiful. So
Okay.
I mean, like I don't feel the need to influence you to anything because you're already beautiful.
All right.
If you had a son, wouldn't you want him to be just like the way you are now? Just being kind and nice and considerate to people and learning
I'd like
things.
I'd like him to have maybe some of my attributes, but there's certainly plenty that I'm glad he doesn't have.
Well, we don't have to bring them up online.
No, we don't. Yeah, we don't have to go there. I hear you. Boy, I feel like I might have missed one of the audio clips. I don't know because I know he talked about doing a Rocky impression, and I don't remember. I know he does his real Rocky impression. I don't know if it's the next one or not, but I know he did a fake Rocky impression where he just said, "Yo, Adrian, yo, Adrian," and in his own voice. And I don't recall hearing that in the past videos, but so I hope I just missed it because I feel like I may have possibly missed one of the videos, but
Well, one thing you could do, the clips are so short and there's so few of them that you could just like listen to the first like few seconds of each one, and you'd probably quickly find one if you missed one. But that's your business how you want to handle it.
yeah. I I suspect I was maybe walking out to have a smoke or something when he said it and I missed it because I don't think I missed one. But
Let's
anyway,
see.
so I'm going to run with that, and if it turns out I missed one, I'll go back next time I'm on maybe and play it. So what are we on? I think this is let me see. This is 14, so I'm looking for 15. Let me get rid of that. I'm looking for 15. And get rid of that. This is going to be the last one for today, 15. That'll split up the series. The series has 10 shows, so So
I
doing
see.
these 5, we'll split it in half. So let me set it up so the volume doesn't blow anybody away. Now the volume stayed on this one. That's interesting. I don't know how that happened, because it
Well, you'll
hasn't
get
been
more and more
saved.
used to it. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
it,
yeah.
it might be something like if you don't close the whole app or that tab down, it might hold the memory. But if you close the tab or the app, it might then reset the memory, or maybe it will hold on
Sure.
to your setting from now on. You'll just have to experiment and see.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Share screen. Scroll
Thank you, Hill, for
tab.
saying that I deflect anger in chats.
All right. I think this is it. Here we go.
Very good.
You're gonna eat lightning and you're gonna drop thunder. You're gonna become a very dangerous fighter. Yo, Adrian! I did it!
You cannot leave the theater in the middle of the movie. Unless you want to be deceived for the rest of your life. Because if you leave the theater in the middle of the movie, that would be the crisis point. That would be the low point of the movie. And every director, every writer, whether he's writing a screenplay, a stage play, a television show, he's gonna bring you to a low point before he shows you the sequel. And they didn't make it up, folks. They didn't make up the elements of a good story that keeps you involved, that thrills you at the end, that makes you throw up your hands and say, hallelujah, woo, wasn't that great? Wasn't that inspiring? Wasn't that uplifting? No, they didn't make that up. God made that up. God is the Shakespeare supreme. Shakespeare has nothing on God. God started this ball rolling way back when. What does he do? He creates an earth, and then the earth becomes a chaos and vacant. I know the common translations say the earth was void. How does the King James read? It's terrible. The earth was a void. No, it became that way. That's the proper translation there in the first chapter of Genesis. God's earth is ruined, and then he begins to recreate it to show his power. Here comes Adam on the scene. Things are going great. Whoops, what happened to Adam? He sinned. He fell. God's universe is ruined. No, it's only Act 2, because now we're setting a stage for a Savior. Oh, here comes the law of Moses. Looking good. Moses is bringing it down. Holy crap, the Israelites are dancing around a golden calf. That's the end of the movie. Israel's damned. No, that's Act 2. It's the crisis. They're going to be saved, and wait till you see it. That's Act 3. Whoa, I'm getting way ahead of it. Welcome to Friday. You know, you can leave at the middle of the movie, but you're going to miss the rest of the story. All this death and destruction down here has a happy ending. Of course, unless you're a member of religion. If you're in a religion, then you do not have a happy ending. Oh, maybe you do, if you do the right things, if you believe just the right way. But possibly your friends are not going to have a happy ending, or your children, or your parents, because most of them are going to get damned. Here's the happy ending of the Christian religion.
Death is eternal. Torment is eternal.
This is a nightmare!
Pain is eternal.
Oh no, we're all doomed.
Despair is eternal.
Oh, I can't take it anymore! Where do I sign up for this religion?
No, that is not God's resolution of what you see happening down here. you're leaving the theater too soon. Did you know that the book of Revelation is not the last word God has for us? This really messes a lot of people up because they see it in the last of the order in the scriptures and the arrangement. But at the end of Revelation, we have the second death in operation. Late in Revelation, we hear about the second death, chapter 20, the lake of fire. There are many people cast into the lake of fire, which is the second death. I acknowledge that. We have a city, New Jerusalem. Sounds wonderful, and yet outside are all these terrible people, these curs and whoremongers. Arr, arr, arr. They're outside the city. Do they remain that way? No, they don't, because that is still Act 2. Revelation might be the last physical book of the Bible, but it's not the last revelation we have. That was given to Paul. The Apostle Paul in 1 Corinthians goes beyond the second death. He goes beyond the New Jerusalem. Yes, he does. He does, because he goes to a time when Christ gives up all reign to God. He's still reigning on the new earth, in the New Jerusalem. He's a king at that time. Paul says in 1 Corinthians chapter 15 that one day Christ is going to give up his reign. He's going to abolish death. This is post-Revelation, because in Revelation, the second death is in operation. 1 Corinthians 15:26, God is going to abolish death. And the reason, the purpose, is plainly stated in 1 Corinthians 15:28, that God may become all in all. Yes! There, I just gave you the good news. Now we're going to go back to scene 2. You know, I'm not going to tease you. I could, I know. It looks like I tease you because I tell you I'm going to do something, and then 10 days later I actually do it. But I want you to keep that goal that God is going to be all in all in your heart right now. I'm going to get into more details later, but keep that. Let that encourage you, because now we're going to plunge back into the chaos. But now you know that the chaos is going to result in something wonderful. Chaos itself isn't wonderful, but it's going to produce something wonderful, because God is the divine alchemist. He turns all these bad things into good things. And I've studied screenwriting. I got a book at Barnes & Noble called Idiot's Guide to Screenwriting. It screamed out to me, this book's for you. So I picked it up, and I didn't know this before, but every play, every movie consists of 3 acts, 3 parts. It's almost universal. Well, it is universal. These 3 acts are Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3. Simple enough. Let me explain this to you. In Act 1, you get your people up a tree. I'm using the tree as a metaphor. You get them in some kind of trouble in Act 1. This is universal. This makes a good story. This is the skeleton of a great story. In Act 2, you throw rocks at your people. You give them all kinds of obstacles and troubles, things that you're never going to imagine they're ever going to overcome. And in Act 3, you get them down. You know, you can't even sell a movie in Hollywood unless you have some kind of happy ending. You have to have a resolution. You have to have a build-up, a crisis, and a resolution. You study any movie, you're going to find this. Even Mary Poppins. Yeah, it works in Mary Poppins. The kids are estranged, remember? They're estranged from their father, and they're going to get a new nanny. They tear up all their nannies. They just destroy them. And here comes Mary Poppins floating down on her umbrella. It's a picture of God. It's a parable. I'd love to go into details of this movie because there's so many spiritual things in this movie. I was just teasing you earlier when I talked about the sex and violence. But anyway, here goes Mary Poppins. She gets the kids to understand what love is, and then she begins to work on Mr. Banks. She starts to work her magic on him, but not before a crisis is reached. The low point of the movie, Banks loses his job at the bank. You remember the bank president doesn't even get his joke about the man with the wooden leg named Smith. Love that movie. And the great resolution is that through the ministrations of Mary Poppins, Mr. Banks comes to see the light. And his children, he's reconciled with them. His wife loves him again, and everything's happy. And that's Mary Poppins. The same thing happens in Rocky. And now, yes, we're getting down to my Rocky imitation. I'm showing you all these things to illustrate God's methods, because really they're not much different. And I know, Yeah, I anticipate that argument. People are saying, well, God's ways are not man's ways. Man does this a certain way. Shakespeare wrote plays and Mary Poppins was written in a certain way, but God's not like that. So you're telling me God's worse than that? You're telling me that man at least comes up with happy stories, but the ending to God's stories suck? God's ending is chaos and violence? Man, are you people missing the boat? If God does not exceed Mary Poppins, then he's not God. It's going to be better than Mr. Banks reconciled with his children. God's going to take everything to a new level. This is primitive what man's doing. And God doesn't do worse. God exceeds it. He exceeds our expectations, more so than Steven Spielberg or George Lucas. God is much better than George Lucas. Take that thought with you over the weekend. Yo, Adrian, I know I still haven't gotten to my incredible Rocky imitation, and I don't do this on purpose. I have so many things to say. I get on sidetracks. I hope some of it's valuable. Again, my goal is to give you one thing new every day that you learn. One thing you take away from. What are you going to learn from today? That the man with the wooden leg named Smith, he had another leg. Nobody knew what its name was. That's what you're going to take with you today. I'll see you Monday, and I'm going to do Rocky. I promise you. I'm Martin Zender. Have a great weekend.
Stella! Stella!
Did you say Stella?
Yeah, you know how he was screaming that in the movie while he was jogging in the rain? Rocky? Yeah.
I thought the Stella came from
Sylvester Stallone?
no, from oh, come on, Hill, help me out.
Yeah, help us out.
Yeah,
Need a woman's brain here.
Stella. That was
Stella!
the name of it, something about a train or something like that.
Streetcar Named Desire?
Streetcar Named Desire. Yes. What was his name? The lead male role.
I don't know.
I
bet Hill knows.
Okay, I'm Googling it.
I have a seriously foggy mind, baby.
Streetcar Named Desire. Marlon Brando.
Whoa, sounds serious.
Stella. That was Marlon Brando.
Was it?
Yeah, he's standing down on the street looking up at a window or something like that, and he's yelling out, Stella!
Oh, and he's like a boxer kind of character too in that film?
You know, I don't think I've ever actually seen the movie. I've seen plenty of the clips of him standing there, Stella!
Okay, yeah, I'm sure you're correct.
But the thing Rocky said was, Yo, Adrian, or something like that.
Yeah.
I can't do Rocky. So, Yo, Adrian, I did it, or something like that.
Looks like we're all officially grannies and grandpas because she never saw it either.
Yeah, we're back to
pre-TV days.
Can't remember one moment from the next.
Check out your electrolytes, bro. Get a squeeze lemon and make yourself a couple drinks when you get up in the morning before you have any coffee or anything. If it's okay with any medicines you're on.
Yeah, I'm not on any meds. I do enjoy lemon water, so I actually am currently out of lemons. I just had my last lemon wedge yesterday in some tea, but I do often have lemon water or tea, and I definitely get my share of salt. Most people can't handle stuff salted as much as I like the salt.
Yeah, I'm with you there too. I wonder if you could be over electrolyte overdose.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Just like I guess a doctor could test, but But like, just like
Yeah.
being lacking in electrolytes would make it difficult for electrical signals to travel around our nerves in our bodies.
Yeah.
Having too much could make it jump outside, just like a wire arcing outside of
Arcing.
where it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So yeah, you might find your memory might have might help something that simple. Might not,
Yeah.
but it might. Something to
Yeah.
check out anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Worth looking
Uh,
into.
do yourself a low salt for 2 or 3 days, see if it affects you at all, and try electrolyte drink for a few days, see if that helps.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Worth
mean,
looking
not
into.
that you're falling apart, but if you don't feel crispy as you should be, then that's something that might help.
Yeah. It might. Okay. Well, let's see. I've been 2 hours.
That it?
That's pretty good for me, I think.
You got another 3 hours left in you, I think.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I hear you. Oh, we have a message from Hill here.
Yeah, I'm gonna put that up there. Lemon and Himalayan pink salt in water first thing in the morning is excellent. Do a search. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I
I
recommend.
I don't
Definitely
ha
before coffee.
I don't have Himalayan pink salt, but I've got a salt that I'm gonna go take a look at it. It's supposed to be some pretty good stuff, and whether it is or not, who knows? Maybe I was sold a bill of goods. It is Baja Gold, fine sea salt, nature's perfect salt, created seasonally from mineral and trace element rich Sea of Cortez. Or
Yeah, that
I'm
sounds
sorry,
like a good quality product.
it sounds like it, and
Yeah,
it's a big old bag. So I hope I didn't purchase this big old bag for nothing. But we'll see how it goes. I actually
yeah,
just started using it yesterday. We'll see what happens.
yeah.
Okay, I'm doing great, huh? Hill?
What time do you hit the hay at night, Dale?
Oh man, that seems to be a crapshoot.
I see.
Just about every time it's a crapshoot.
What do you have,
Ver-
insomnia, kinda?
well,
Chat addiction?
it's so easy for me to fall asleep, especially after I eat. Oh
Oh yeah,
boy, after I eat, it's hard for me to keep my eyes open. So, 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon or evening, whenever I do eat, if I don't keep myself real busy, boy, I'll be snoozing for a couple hours, and next thing you know, come midnight, and I'm not sleepy at all. So I'm lucky. Sometimes I'm lucky to get to bed by 3 a.m.
I
So
see. Do you feel good with it though, or is it kind of suck and you want to go to bed at an earlier hour, or you just find you
I,
don't care when you go?
I pretty much don't care.
Yeah,
Um,
good.
sometimes, obviously, if there's something I got to do the next day, I want to make sure I've got enough rest. But
Definitely. Yeah.
yeah, for the most part, it's not a big deal. I don't have anything on a hard schedule that I have to be fresh every morning at 7 o'clock or whatever. But
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I'm
Two things
flexible in
that
that regard.
two things that do help us feel better. I think at least mostly, probably almost always, is a good food schedule, a eat schedule, and a sleep schedule.
Yeah,
And,
routine seems to work better with the body than everything being haphazard.
yeah.
But you know, I guess that's one of the luxuries of being retarded. I mean, retired.
Oh
You
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
you can uh, you can do whatever you want whenever you want to a degree. So
Hill has no schedule.
no schedules.
Yeah. Come on
Yep,
over here,
me either.
baby. I'll give you a schedule.
I'm not touching that one.
Just kidding. I like to
I
flirt with
know.
everyone. I'm not
I
gay or
know.
nothing, but I even flirt with guys. I'm not
Yeah.
gay, but
Yeah.
I'm just have fun. I don't care. I'm just loving everybody.
I hear you, man. I hear you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess I'm going to bail out of here. Krishna, I appreciate you coming in and helping me
Wow,
out
you
and
you you're just
sharing
dumping us.
your.
This is like obvious racism against Hindus.
Oh, man.
You're just kicking me out to the curb.
Well, I'm kicking myself
Wow.
out too, so it's I'm not doing anything to you that I wouldn't do to myself. So,
Wow, that even hurts more.
whoa, hurts more.
Yeah,
All
I love
right.
you, brother. You're beautiful, and I look forward to seeing you again real soon.
All right. Thanks,
And
Krishna.
hey, I might suggest if you get into like opening up these streams with your ukulele for a few minutes while people gather, you'll probably attract a lot of attention.
Maybe, uh, y- I even before I went live, you know that I was on, and I was hoping for you to come in before live. But did you come in before live? I think you did.
13 minutes before.
Yeah. Well, before I don't know if you were doing something else and couldn't click the link, but since you were silent and I still had 10 minutes or whatever till the show was supposed to start, I was playing my uke, thinking oh, maybe Krishna will hear me, but
Yeah,
I
well,
guess
actually, I saw that you weren't responsive right away, so I just went to listen to a couple other little videos. That's all I did.
okay.
Then I checked back in. Hey, yeah, you better lock your door. St. Tommy's trying to kick in the back door here.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Because grace. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Tommy. I've been going for a couple hours and I got to bail out of here. So otherwise, I'd have you in if you
I'm going
wanted.
to hit my
But
big red button. I enjoyed you. I love you, and I'll see you
yeah,
soon.
all right. Thank you, Christian. I love you too, man. Well, okay. All right, folks. Let's see. Here we go. Yeah. I hope you enjoyed um, those audios. If you missed them, you can go back and re-listen to it. Speed through some of my mumblings and whatnot, but I find those audios very instructive, constructive, uh, a lot of good stuff in there. So, all right, I guess I'm gonna wrap it up now, and we'll see you next time. Not sure when it'll be, but I'm gonna. Hill, I still remember your suggestion that uh, during an ace stream, when he's winding down to throw in my link and do a show, if not immediately after, then at least relatively soon after, so people know that it's going to happen. But if people sub to my account, they'll at least get a notification. So um, okay, see you next time. Thank you for sitting in with me. See you next time.